All right, chaps. So just to give you a introduction to Blood Bowl Formation Maker (BBFM). This is an app for creating formations, moving dudes around, and generally just experimenting with your teams. So the basic premise of this is you've got formation mode and you've got playbook mode. You can switch between the two. In formation mode, you're essentially setting up your team. So you can set up a team as the offense and switch to the defense and set up the defense team. Pretty straightforward. So you can have a little play around with that. If you press and hold on the square, you can select a position. You can also use the player button at the bottom to switch between sides and position, just like you can in the full mode here. I would always say switch to this sort of minimal UI mode for mobile because it just works better. It's a bit easier to work with. Desktop, you can use the full mode because you get all the menus, and the menus are quite useful because you can lock them and have multiple menus on screen at the same time. But actually, most of the time, I generally work on mobile anyway, and I just prefer it. So, but the option's there for both. Once you've placed all your pieces, you can then switch to playbook mode and then form a sequence of actions into a play which you can save. And you can also save your formations too. And you can do that in this session section at the bottom here. So you can either save formation. So in this case, I'm on the defense side, so I'm going to call it defense 1. I can then switch to the offense and then save formation, save it as off 1. And then if I want to pitch, go to the pitch tab, scroll along here at the bottom and clear. I can clear the whole pitch down. Go back to session, load formation. I'm currently on offense, so I'm just going to load the last formation for offense I saved. And I'm then going to switch to defense and load the last defense formation. You can see those two formations I previously had saved are now back on the pitch. The other thing you can do in terms of setting up teams in formation mode is go to session and then go to CSV here at the bottom. If I click that, I can then import a CSV from the likes of TourPlay. If you use the same format as TourPlay, you can actually create your own CSVs. But for argument's sake, let's say we've downloaded our CSV from TourPlay. You can ask your league commissioner to do this for you. I'm going to select my team here, which I'm currently using in a league. I'm going to select it as import as offense. Okay, and it gets dumped into like a dugout. And you can drag your players from this dugout, or you can just click deploy and dump them all to the pitch. In this case, I've dumped them all to the pitch. This is my actual TourPlay team. So if I can I can either right click if I'm desktop or long press on mobile, and that will give me the stats for that particular player. In this case, it's a witch elf with an additional skill of block, as you can see. So that's another way to deploy your team. There is one more way which I will show you. So you can either select your size, put them on the pitch, import a team from TourPlay, or if I go back to pitch and clear it down, what I can do is go to session and then load a whole pitch state. And I've got this one called pitch 1 already saved. If I load that, what that does is it actually loads in the entire pitch state. So in this case, I've got some humans and orcs which are already on the pitch. And also you can see that they've actually got their elite skills revealed. I can cycle through skills here. So default skills, which are colorized. Blue, the light blues are strength, dark blue is block, orange is tackle, yellow is dodge, and then grey is your general skills. You can cycle through to just elites if you want to. And you can see there at a glance, you can see you've got Mighty Blow and Block in play there. So that is another way you can add a team. There is one more way, so I'm going to quickly clear this down. And then this way you have to go back into the full UI mode. And then, so I've got like orcs and humans selected at the moment. I go to session menu here. And in here there's this formation presets. And you got some offense and defense formations. These are pretty generic, to be fair, so it's just a quick way to get a team on the pitch. So I can just click, I don't know, balanced offense, and then the anchor or boat formation for defense. Close that menu up, go back to the minimal UI mode, and you can see now it's placed 2 formations down for offense and defense. One for the orcs, one for the humans, and by default it gives you all of the linemen. You can switch these over if you like once they're deployed, so you can long press, choose a different player to replace that, and you're pretty much ready to go in terms of formation. I think in the next video we'll probably have a look at how Playbook works at a glance. Cheers.